I'm live. There it is. I have no idea how this is gonna go. This is my first time ever doing this. So let's see. I don't even know how to see. So used to doing this on Instagram. I see four people are here, but chat if you can hear me. And let me know where you are from. Live chat. There we go. Hey, Len, how are you? Hey, Gabs and Kaylee. How's everyone doing? I know where Lynn is and where the slipness are from. Yeah, let me know. Sounds like you can hear me, so that is good. Because I have my little microphone set up here. I can see the bars going across. All right, we're just gonna launch right into. Hey, Valerie Voigt, how are you? Welcome. I have a nice cup of tea. Hope Maillard come from southern New Jersey. Is that down the shore or closer to Philly? Yeah, it is a bit of a chilly day here as things go in Southern California. I may have to pull down the shade in a bit if the light starts to come in too brightly, but I'm kind of enjoying the sunshine a little bit. Yeah, it was down into the 50s, I think. And so it's a little chilly here in the house. And I have a shawl that I'm going to talk about a little bit later. Down the shore. Nice. And yeah, so I don't really have too much of an agenda. I just wanted to come on and celebrate hitting 1,000. Hey, Arena, how are you? Celebrate hitting 1,000 subscribers. It's been a slow climb, but that's okay. We're growing deliberately. Hey, Angel, how are you? Happy Thanksgiving weekend end. And I think one of the things you get when you can hit 1,000 is you get to go live. So I thought that was a good way to celebrate that. And we're going to talk a little bit about the prize that will be given away on my next actual YouTube episode, which is probably coming out end of this week. So I'll talk a little bit about that as well. Going to talk about the holidays and what I'm working on, what we have coming up. Yes, I am live. Yes. Hey, Angela. Hey, Joyce. Hey, Eli. Stuart, I did it. I did do it. I figured it out. Yeah, it's a little bit different than I'm used to Instagram live. I do like seeing all the stuff going on over here. The chatting going on is really cool. Yeah, so we're just gonna get into talking about a bunch of different stuff. Chime in. I'll try to keep tabs on. Congratulations, it's getting faster after the first K. Well, that is good to know, Arena. One day, finally, hopefully I will hit where you where you are. I'm not going to be putting out 17 videos a week though. You had quite a run there where the content was coming fast and furious, and that's probably one of the reasons why you grew so fast. In addition to the fact that you're a fantastic interviewer of fiber folks. But hello, sister. Let's talk about Thanksgiving. How was everyone's Thanksgiving? Have we finished up leftovers yet? We just did. We finished up ours last night, and Thanksgiving was, I would say, a bit of a flop. We were trying. We always do a theme, so we love to cook, and so since we moved out here to California, we have not had a traditional turkey and stuffing and mashed potatoes Thanksgiving. We kind of grab a regional cuisine usually, and then do that as the theme. So we've done Mexican, we've done Korean, we've done Persian. Last year we were going to do Indian, but then we both got COVID halfway through the prep, so the two of us had an Indian Thanksgiving with lots of food because we packed up some Hey, Aaron. Hey, Jerry. I hope the move went well. So we've kind of picked a regional cuisine for the last 6 years or so, and this year we decided to try plant forward. So I don't know if it was quite vegetarian because there may have been some chicken stock in there, but otherwise it was pretty vegetarian. Not that we are vegetarian, although we tried to eat more plant-based stuff than we did probably 5 or 6 years ago. Anyway, hmm. There were a couple of good recipes. I would say the mushroom lasagna from Martha Rose Schulman from the New York Times was quite good. And oh, severe vomiting. Oh no. Oh no, Joyce. That's terrible. And then we had a winter slaw from, I think it was from the Ottolenghi, either Plenty or Simple cookbooks. Ottolenghi is one of our go-to cookbooks, especially the simple one because it's pretty simple. And that was quite good. It was cabbage with it had like papaya and mango and candied walnuts or candied hazelnuts. It was supposed to be macadamia nuts, but we used hazelnuts. And that was tasty. Everything else was a bit of a bleh. And I think the general consensus from our guest was also kind of a meh. It was my parents and my in-laws, and I don't think any of them were um, that excited about a vegetarian Thanksgiving. Everyone took it, nobody complained, but I just don't think it was quite as as tasty as it could have been. Anyway, we had some nice desserts. We had nice bread. My husband baked 2 loaves of bread. That was quite nice. But I think we will one next year. I think we're just going to cook a lot less food. There's only 6 of us. Nobody eats a lot, and we end up with a lot of leftovers. So I think that's what we're going to do for going forward and for Thanksgiving. But I think we will go back to maybe a regional cuisine. Maybe we'll just need to find another cookbook and do that and just have fewer food. So it was kind of in addition to kind of a lackluster showing on the food front, our problem dog was a bigger problem than usual. She actually has become a bigger problem than she has recently. So we're in a bit of a quandary with her right now, and that really also put a layer of stress on the day that didn't help matters. So we were glad when it was all over and we could have a day to sort of sit back and relax. And I did some knitting, and my husband just kind of hung out here at the house. So we haven't done anything this weekend really. We're not big Black Friday folks, and so as tempting as some of the did anyone do Black Friday in the yarn world, because there were some amazing deals. I just certainly don't need more yarn, and as tempted as I was, I feel like I've did a fair amount of my small business shopping at recent fiber fairs, and didn't need to dive into that Black Friday thing. But there were some really amazing deals going on right now. In fact, I just saw one of the folks I met at Southern California Fiberware Dragonfish. I think Dragon. I'll show it to you in a minute. She's doing a sale like literally right now where the first hour is like 75% off. Like I don't even know how she's gonna have any inventory left after the first. Ooh, scored some whimsical yarn code deep discounts. Excellent. Supported your local yarn store, Angel, even though you didn't need anything. Yeah, I was too soon after Brian Beck. I think that's right for what was right for me. Fiberology dye wax, buy one get one free. So ooh, bought some sea change. I think sea change fiber yarn today for the crochet log. Oh, cool. So you're going to use sea change, and I'm going to go through all that stuff here in a little bit as well for the crochet lung. I thought I saw you say that. That's a great idea, and she has such beautiful colors. I think they'll be fantastic in that shawl. Jimmy Bean's wool watcher sale, carpet steamer from Target. Okay, all right. Yeah, I saw the I did not see fiberology buy one get one free. I saw Fuzzy Goat had buy one, get one 70% off sale. And hold on, I'm going to turn my volume. Someone was dialing in. It's not like Instagram where it'll cut me off on YouTube, but at least I don't see the notifications popping up. They call it Black Friday, but it always puts me in the red. I hear you. Yeah, I used to really get into it, and I used to be much more of a shopper in general. Yarn shopping, I guess, notwithstanding, because I do a fair bit of damage there. But my first career or first job out of college was in the buying office of a department store, and there was a very strong culture of buying clothes if you worked in the buying offices, and so I used to be a huge clothes shopper, and now really not at all. So, you okay? So Eli says I got a 50% off grab bag from Spin Cycle. I have a bit of a bone to pick with Spin Cycle and starting their sale at 5 a.m. Pacific time. Like, I get that we're all supposed to be, super consumers and, wanting to jump on the bandwagon, but I don't even understand what that got them, except maybe picking up some sales in Europe, which I don't even understand, because who's going to spend a gazillion dollars to ship yarn to Europe, even if it was 50% off? Yeah, I just feel like they left out, and they're based out here too. That's what I'm like, I feel like they really kind of kicked us in the shins out here on the West Coast, because by the time I got up, and I probably didn't look at it until like 7, but I was like, oh yeah, I should go check that out. Of course, everything was sold out. Everything in the 50% off second spin. So boo Spin Cycle, unless next year you're gonna do it at 9 o'clock p.m. Pacific time, so it's like midnight on the East Coast. Yeah, it's definitely catering to the East Coast. Some definite West Coast discrimination going on from the folks at Spin Cycle. Not here for that. Anyway, so it sounds like people were able to get on some of the bandwagons. I guess there'll be more through tomorrow with some of the Cyber Monday stuff. So I hope everyone got some deals. I guess I should throw in there that the D-Stash sale is going on right now. If you missed out on bargains in other Black Friday sales, the D-Stash for Good sale went live on Friday, and there are 270, I think, items up there. It's about, I haven't calculated it out, I'm guesstimating that it's about $7,500 worth of merchandise at retail. There's some really good stuff. The bidding's been great so far. A lot of activity. I have not, I don't know if Carol's here to give me, tease me about my spreadsheets, but I have not updated my spreadsheets yet, just to figure out how much there actually is up there, and kind of where we are on things. Yes, I saw. I saw that you all have bid, and sometimes you bid against each other, and sometimes I'm never sure who's bidding on things. So just keep going out, keep going, bid against each other. That's fine. But yeah, there's a lot of good stuff, and I'm hoping that based on the the number of items, I mean, I would hope we'll be able to get to like $3,500, $4,000 maybe for AIDS Lifecycle, and then that will go until noon on the 5th, at which point I will shut it down. I think we have a house guest we're taking to the airport that day. So I'm not sure if I shut it down at noon, if I will immediately start sending out the notifications. So if you are participating, I always get a panic. Someone panicked that when I shut things down, I turn off the comments and you can't see what the what the bidding was anymore. But that's the only way I can stop the bidding until I have a time to go through each one and send out the notices to folks saying like, you won. Here's the person who bought your thing. You guys connect and do all that. So hello, Carol. Here you're here. I summoned you by mentioning spreadsheets. I think that's probably what it was. And now this thing is getting in the way. So hold on. Okay. So yeah, so that's the D-stash. It'll go through the 5th. At noon, I will shut it down, and then either later that day or the following morning, the notifications go out, and you can all close out those transactions and try to get everything sent off before the holidays. So that's all done. And then if you missed out on listing your items, yeah, who gets up at 4 a.m. thinks it's time to shop? Not me, not me. I mean, if I'm getting up at 4 a.m., it's because something's wrong. A dog is sick, or I'm sick. Otherwise, I'm sleeping right through. And if you missed your chance to list your items in this go round, do not worry. We will do another one in January, or listings will open sort of mid-January to run probably end of January, early February for another D-stash. And yeah, so that is what's going on the D-stash side. That will hopefully all be Knitting Place has 20% off midnight to 6 a.m. on Monday. Is that a brick and mortar place that you're supposed to show up at midnight and go shopping for yarn? I mean, I guess maybe if there are cocktails involved, dancing, I don't know. Yeah, so that'll get us through the yes, but online only. Okay. Interesting. I guess that works really well if you want to send it to Europe or Asia, maybe. I don't know. I'm not Rebecca and I did major damage at the neighborhood fiber. Yeah, neighborhood fiber company yesterday not in person, 40% off everything. I think tomorrow online 40% everything off on person off 40% off. Also, I thought I saw in her email today things in the sale section. So I think those are already 30%. So take another 40% off. It's yeah, if you're in the market for some neighborhood fiber company stuff, it's a great opportunity. So that'll get us through the holidays in terms of things going on. I guess what are folks doing? Are people traveling for the holidays or sticking around? Sticking around home. We are here. We will be feeding and entertaining the senior citizens, much as we do for every major holiday. I don't know if we're going to be cooking or going over to my parents' place to eat. We have to discuss that with them. But yeah, a pox upon travel. Going to New York, ooh, with your pup. Wow. Is that Joyce? Is that to visit folks or to do some sort of dog event? I think the Westminster show was just this. Wasn't that on Thanksgiving? Doesn't that happen every Thanksgiving? Yeah, the traveling during the actual around the actual holiday is tough. I mean, I think in a perfect world, the idea of like getting away and going somewhere and is great, but the traveling right around cats and I'll be traveling between the couch and there you go. Traveling between the couch and the bed, traveling between one whip and another. That is some Christmas travel that I can get behind. But yeah, we'll be here. No real. I mean, to be fair, and my sisters who's here will concur. I am famously not really big on the holidays, so we haven't really celebrated Christmas in ages. I think I just posted on Instagram. The last Christmas decoration I put up was 11 years ago, and it was a Wabi tape. What's that tape? The colorful tape. I made it on a mirror, and that was in the shape of a Christmas tree. And yeah, and so we've kind of, we like to travel for a week or so within Bolivia, but we have to go spend husband's vacation time with my father-in-law with some things. Okay. That's yeah, the washi tape. Exactly. Thank you. Yeah, so that was the last time we did any Christmas decorations. The aforementioned problem dog would be a problem, I think, if we tried to put up a tree or in anything. Christmasification of your apartment. I'm sure my sister did as well. She loves to decorate and celebrate, but we take it a little low key. We have a meal for the seniors, and that's about it. And I'm not doing any holiday crafting this year. Often I'll have like a gift or something. Last year, one of our friends here in town does a Christmas holiday party. They're doing it again this year, called My Favorite Things, and you bring I think $10 limit gifts of the same thing, that are something that is your favorite thing. And so last year for that, I um, knit some holiday themed uh, dish rags or washcloths or whatever you call them. I call them dish rags. Yeah, dish rags. And so that was some holiday knitting I did last year, but I don't have anything this year. I have a huge Christmas playlist. I have a friend of mine that puts out like every year puts out a new Christmas. He's been doing it for like 20 years, and it's a different one every year based on what new albums have come out this year. Yeah, like Oprah style, but no cars and no cruises around the world. It's $10 limits, and it isn't a gift exchange, and I can't remember the rules around it because you bring three of the same thing. And then I think maybe there are 3 rounds of drawing, and then there's stealing that happens. You can steal as well. But it's fun. So it's fun to you get 3 little, I think everyone walks away with 3 little gifts. This year I got, I don't know if you'd seen me post on Instagram. There's a woman, it's called the Optimistic Soap Company, and she makes these hand-poured soaps. They're really beautiful, colorful. The folks in my Rhinebeck house would have gotten a little soap in their goodie bags, and she does a bunch of them she does to raise funds for different things. And so she kind of blew up this year on Instagram because she raised one for some sort of reproductive rights or health organization wherever she lives, and she lost a bunch of followers, and then she gained like 17 times as many followers. So I got three different bars of her soap, and that's going to be my little favorite thing gift to give to folks. So Rebecca's getting up the first tree out of the 4. So she makes up for for me because she does four times the normal thing. And the ceramic tree is up year round. So the unicorn soap, yes, there was unicorn soap, one called Love Wins Out. I think the ones I got for this holiday party, one is called Billionaire's Tears. One's called like Smash the Patriarchy, and the other one's called Beer. So I figured if a little if he wanted to or got soap, maybe he would steal to get to the beer soap. So yes, you got 8 bars of her. So it smells amazing. It's almost like too pretty to use. So Optimistic Soap Co. on Instagram. And the soap is lovely too. Most hated Christmas song, George Michael's Last Christmas. Now that's, come on. I feel like, no. You hear it a lot, but I don't know if I wouldn't put that in my most hated. Now you're going to get me thinking and off track and songs that I hate. I would say I'm not a huge fan of the Mariah Carey song. Sorry. And yeah, so that's, I mean, in terms of holiday projects, I don't really have anything. Is anyone knitting gifts that you can talk about here? Putting an artificial tree on the front lawn and hanging hats and scarves I no longer wear for folks to take. Oh, I'm breaking up. Oh no. Do I need to move closer? Do I need to move the mic closer? Let me know if this is better. I feel like I'm at the eye doctor. Better or worse? You're having trouble hearing me as well. Oh, fiddle. Huh. I'm going to keep going, and hopefully it clears up. It's glitchy. It's better for you now. Okay. I'm going to move everything away from the mic. So that means my T has to go over here. And maybe I'll just... You had to refresh the page and it fixed it. Okay, so if folks are having trouble, maybe refresh the page. Sorry about that. As I said, we are learning as we go. I'm going to put this somewhere where I'm bound to kick it over and spill it. So that's it. So yeah, no holiday projects. No holiday projects at this. Move that piece of uranium away from the. Okay, yeah, that was it. It was the kryptonite that I'm keeping here to. Um, Most hated song is 12 Days of Christmas, unless it's the Muppets. Okay, well, I think the Muppets save just about anything. But that is, I don't, yeah, I don't have any holiday projects. I'm gonna talk about my whips here in a second. I would say the one new thing that I'm planning to start is I'd hoped it was going to be already started and well on its way, but as you may know, I had a secret surprise project that came up, and that has taken up a fair amount of my time. Santa baby. Okay. Um, Yeah, I like the Eartha Kitt. I like the Eartha Kitt Santa Baby. Um, Less so the Madonna one, but um, I just feel like it's a little bit goes a long way with Christmas music. Like I sometimes I'll turn on like the Sirius XM like Christmas station, and after about 20 minutes, I'm like, yep, um, we're good till next year. But the project I was hoping to start, I'm gonna show. I don't have any better way of doing this, but to hold up the camera. So this is a blanket that I'm meant to be working on as a housewarming gift. Much delayed. She's been in the house for a while, but my friend picked out this pattern and picked out the yarn for it, and this is the thing that I was supposed to have been um, starting. It's called the Cur Blanket. It's by Carol Feller, who is Stolen Stitches on Instagram, and so I am hoping to get that started during the holiday period. Yeah, it's a beautiful cabled blanket, and I actually got to meet um, Carol when we were in Ireland at her little studio in Cork. She's delightful, and she but she did say, yeah, that's a big project to bite off. And I do love cables, so I'm excited to be trying that. But it is, and I think I've talked about this at least on our Tuesday Zooms, that it's like 10 different charts. And so I think I'm going to try experimenting with Knit Companion, which I've never used, to see if that makes things a little bit easier. She said once you get through the first full repeat, it's going to be fine, but it's getting it to that first full repeat, because they're not all the same height of charts. So it'll be like there's one 4-row chart, there's one 8-row chart, there's one 12-row chart. So it's a lot of tracking back and forth. Good. I'm glad, and Jerry, you can hear me. Okay. So that is the only, I would say, sort of holiday project, even though it's not going to be finished. And maybe by some holiday it'll be finished, but certainly not by this winter holiday. But that's the one thing that I would say is on the table to start this. Uh, have a great visit with your mom if you're headed out, and Jerry, and I will speak to you soon. Um, so that's going on. That's the only sort of like newish project. I said the D stash is going to get through the holiday. A couple other things that are going on between now and the end of the year. So December 15th is the end of the Knit the Rainbow accessories drive that we've been working on, or that many of us have been working on. So you still have a couple weeks left to get projects knit up or crocheted up for Knit the Rainbow. Hopefully in the next week, I'll just put that on my list. I'll put together the Google form. So for those of you who are playing along for the big prizes at the end, I will put together the Google form where you can start to fill that out and figure out your points totals. Halftone pullover for my mom is a holiday gift. Ooh, I don't know that. I don't know that pattern, but I will take a note of it here and look that up. But that's great. Yeah, my mom was here Finished the first sock for Knit the Rainbow. Woohoo! Yeah. I was gonna say Gabs and Kay have been killing it for the knit along or the Knit the Rainbow accessories drive. Um, Finished another pair of socks for Knit the Rainbow. Yeah, you have a pile of stuff. Making several someday berets as gifts. Very cool. So, well, we'll talk about a beret here or a tam here in a minute. But I kind of want to make one. I can't imagine it's all that different than making a hat, but I'm just kind of excited about the Idols of Winter cowl. Is that colorwork, Carol? The cowl? You are the color queen of colorwork, so I assume that it would be. So that is the Knit the Rainbow accessories drive is going to wrap up on the 15th. Start tabulating all of your totals if you're playing along for the big prizes. They have started to come in. I got the Woolens and Nosh sock advent. I think the Porter Woolco full advent is probably on its way very shortly, and so hopefully once we get the scores tabulated, I can get those in the mail as soon as possible and get them to you before the holidays. Even though the advent you won't be able to work on as designed. Working on a scarf for the indie gift along, new concept for me where it is crocheted lengthwise versus but oh okay long ways. Okay. So very long strips, but is it striped or something? Because that could be cool. I think I've thought about making a blanket that way, just doing doing it the long way. Making a winter doodle cow for yourself. No, one color is your other cow, but you're making a winter doodle cow. Yeah, I was just perusing Jamie, who's Pacific Knit Co. Her patterns on Ravelry and looking at all the very cool doodle cow as well. Yeah, so the indie gift along, we could talk about that because one of the projects I'm working on came from there. So if folks aren't playing along, it is an annual event on Ravelry run by Nina Macklin Dayton. And it just highlights a bunch of indie designers for a week. I think it ends tomorrow, the discount for a week. They list a bunch of their patterns for like 25% off. And then there is a make along component of that where there are all these different categories that you can make one of the patterns from one of the designers. There's a wild contest where people try to complete one project in every single category called like the Opadu. And I don't know how long the make-alongs run, but I know the discounts only run for a week or so. But in their community group, then there are also like fun games. So there's like a designer scrambled name, and like every couple hours they'll post one up, and whoever solves it first gets the prize. Usually it's a pattern from one of the participating designers. So it's a really fun thing. I usually do a fair bit of my small business Saturday shopping with indie knit along designers because it's how I've discovered a bunch of Amba O'Brien. That's how I discovered her a couple years ago. Nina, who has the pattern for my my favorite hat. And yeah, I always just kind of go through the whole, sort by what I'm interested in making, hats or whatever. And like for Knit the Rainbow specifically this year, I went through and I was like, any bulky weight hat pattern that's in there that looks like it's a decent pattern, like I'll go ahead and buy that. And sometimes, during the course of the year, as I add things to my favorites in Ravelry, then at the end of the year, when they pop up if they show up as one of the things that are on sale, I'll throw it in there. So I got a bunch of patterns Saturday, not yesterday, so maybe Friday or so, I went in and picked up a bunch of stuff that way. So especially bulky weight hats, because I got a bunch of bulky weight yarn during the Knit Picks big sale that I'm going to use for next year's Knit the Rainbow stuff. So yeah, it's a really cool, fun event. So if you haven't checked it out, I think you have another day to participate in the sale. But I haven't had a chance to do it this year, but I love to go and play the little treasure hunt and things like that. And I've won a couple prizes over the years and discovered a new designer that way as well. So that's a lot of fun. So Knit the Rainbow wrapping up on the 15th. Get those pictures up. We still have 3 weeks of Monday raffles for the Knit the Rainbow Accessories Drive. Use the Gary Knits the Rainbow hashtag, post your pictures. I'm randomly picking names every Monday. So tomorrow I have a gift card from Cesium Yarns, which is one of the vendors at Woolen Folk. And I'll be giving that away live on Instagram at 3 o'clock if I don't forget to do it. Because a couple of weeks I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's 5 o'clock and I forgot to go on live. So I will try to remember to do that. And then the other thing is, I don't know if anyone is planning on attending, and I don't really know if you can buy a marketplace ticket and participate, but Vogue Knitting is having one of their Vogue Knitting Live virtuals coming up like the weekend of the 3rd. So it may run from the 1st to the 3rd, or I think that's probably what it is. I think it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But anyway, Austin Rivers, the founder and CEO of Knit the Rainbow, and I are going to sit down and have a fireside chat. It coincides, this one coincides with World AIDS Day. And so he and I are just going to chat about his work with Knit the Rainbow, my work with AIDS Lifecycle, and kind of, just talk about how we have gotten into this area and kind of what it means to us, and hope what we have plans for the future. So that's going to be noon Eastern on the 3rd. So that's the Sunday. I tried to find it today on their schedule, but I don't see it up there. So I'm hopeful that it's not something that you have to like pay an extra fee to do. That with your marketplace tickets, I know you usually get some access to some of the things, not the classes and things like that. But I'm hopeful with the marketplace ticket, which I think is only like $3.99, and then you get to see all the cool vendors, which is one of these Vogue Knitting virtual events is basically how I got introduced to Indie Dyed Yarn 3 or 4 years ago. So anyway, so that's coming up on the 3rd. So that's another thing that's happening between now and the end of the year. So should we talk about knitting, what I'm working on, what's going on here? Some of this, I feel like, because I'm going to record a regular YouTube episode this week. So there may be some, did I mention the marinated yarn sales? No. Advent calendar sales, 100% benefit her local food bank. Very cool. I just saw, I think it was marinated, that Kevin and Ray had gotten some like pepperminty kind of yarn in their latest episode. I was watching it last night while I was doing a little knitting. I will make a note of that and go check that out. You know how I love to buy a fundraising skein of yarn. But yeah, so I've been able to do, since Thanksgiving has wrapped up, I have been able to do a fair bit of knitting, or to get back into to knitting over the past couple days. It had been kind of quiet, not quiet, but I've been working on something that I wouldn't say is fun. I would not say what I've been working on has been fun, but I have been able to take a break the last couple of days from that. May have turned a corner, crossed a bridge, something on that last night. But what I did pick up this week, and I'm very excited because it's been fun to get back into it, has been my twist and turn, or not, that's last year's, the Geo Gradient shawl, the MCAL, Stephen West MCAL. I am now 100% complete with clue number 2, only 2 months, after the fact, but it'll get done when it gets done. I really am loving this, the pattern. I'm using, this is all Undercover Otter yarn on a yak silk merino base. So the drape is fantastic. I've loved working with it. And yeah, it was a kit that I was actually bought for shawlography, and then I decided to do my own thing with it. Ranger, yes, Stuart, that is right. That's the one. That was a marinated colorway called Reindeer Poop that they got. Someone had sent them as a gift. It looked like like micro striping. I think Kevin had said it looked like it was going to be. Um, so and maybe you all can help me out here. Because I think on the last episode of my podcast, I talked about trying to do a color pop outside of the four main colors here, and Pow chimed in the comments and said black, which I never really think about black as a color to use, but I thought it could look really cool. Angela, who I think is here, did an amazing job with a color pop in hers, but she started incorporating it in these eyelet sections, from what I can tell on her photos, and then incorporated again in clue number 3, and I think maybe in clue number 4. And so, and that looks great, but I'm kind of wondering whether I missed the ball or missed the boat or missed my opportunity to add a black in here, and if it's just going to look too strange to have like one random black stripe in the next one. So I had gotten really excited about it. Luckily, I had not wound the yarn, and then because I hadn't looked ahead to clue, I'd seen final projects, but I hadn't really looked ahead in the pattern to see what it involves, how many repeats, and da 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 da. And so looking ahead at the clue last night when I was finishing this section up, it looks like there are 6 repeats and then maybe and a half in the next section of that textured slip stitch pattern. So I could maybe swap the black in for one of the colors somewhere in there. Or so maybe could do 1, maybe could do 2, and then I haven't looked ahead at 4, so maybe I should do that now to plan ahead, and then maybe pick up a black row in the final border section. So pink. Yeah, I looked on it was interesting that you mentioned that, because I looked on like a color wheel and was like, what is opposite green? Now, obviously these are a bunch of different greens, some more yellow, some more gray. And it was sort of like a violety red. And I actually pulled out, for another reason, this purple. This is a leftover from a shawl, knit along shawl. And I thought that the purple could be fun in there. But now I'm just questioning the whole second color, and maybe I just stick with the 4. What I have done maybe hard to see here, but in the second repeats, I added mohair or some fuzzy yarn to each of the colors. So it's most noticeable in this first one here, where the kind of gray green got a more lime green mohair added to it. And so what I may just do is just continue playing with the mohairs, and then add those in somewhere in the next section. Just do a whole, maybe alternate, kind of like I did here. So there's one plain section, then one with all the mohairs, and then go back to plain, and maybe alternate through that way. That way I would probably get close to it using up the mohair as well, which would be a nice bonus, rather than add another color, just because I'm not sure where to add it, and if it just is going to look strange to have like one little stripe. I'll mull it over some more. I mean, I did in the shawlography, I did do that. I just did one little blip of a color, and it looked totally fine. But that's, I don't know, the way that shawl is set up, it's more concentric, like half circles, and so that one little row doesn't sort of seem as weird to me as it might here. I don't know. But otherwise I'm enjoying the process. I was going to sit down and start up the next section, but the first part of the next section is basically doing an I-cord bind off for 85 stitches or something like that. And I was on such a positive high from having finished up section 2 that I decided I didn't want to kill the buzz by just having to sit and do an I-cord bind off for 2 hours. So I'll pick that up again when I get frustrated with another project and want to do that. Yeah, I think, Aaron, I think you're right that if I'm not sure, as much as I love the green and purple, and I think if I had thought ahead a little bit and plopped it in somewhere else in there, that maybe it would work better. I just feel like it's going to be too little, too late, and just be kind of a I could buy nobody needs that kind of negativity on their Sunday. And we'll get to it in a second, but compared to what I have been doing, an iCord bind up sounds positively pleasant and fun and engaging. Um, but yeah, I think that maybe I'll just stick with the mohair and play around with it. I thought about maybe mixing things up a little bit, and I mean, I've kind of matched up the mohair so that the candy apple green gets the candy apple green, and maybe I'll play around with mixing the different colors, or maybe with that gray green, take each time that color comes up, pop in one of the other mohair, since that's the palest color, and it's going to blend better with the other mohairs. That might be a fun thing to do, is just to play with the mohair versus that green. So anyway, so that is one thing I've been working on. The other thing that I have started back up again, and I'm hoping this and the MCAL and starting the blanket are really what is supposed to be doing between now and the end of the year. But I picked up again my little Embracing Our Nature socks from Porter Woolco's Pedal Party Remix. These are Samba knits. This was a knit along pattern that we did in the fall, or that many of you did in the fall, and I started in the fall and then finished it up. As you can see, I am doing these 2 at a time on 2 small circulars as part of my 2023 knitting intentions. My goal was to knit 3 pairs of socks. I need to get these finished by the end of the year to hit that intention. But I've been also trying to different methods. This was my year to try to figure out what I like in sock knitting and what I don't like, so that then going forward, I can be like, okay, I am, 68 stitches on size 1 magic loop toe up knitter, and just kind of go with that, because I would like to be a more voluminous sock knitter, but I've never quite figured out what works best for me. So this is not going to be it. I can tell you right now, I do not think that 2 small circulars is going to be the methodology that I stick with long term. I like the 2 at a time. I see the benefit of that. So you don't end up with single sock syndrome. But I think Magic Loop is the way. I think that the issue is, I'm so used to Magic Loop for other things, hats, tops of hats, sleeves, whatever. This just confuses me, because it's the opposite of, for me, my brain, the way my brain works, it's the opposite of how you work with Magic Loop, because this one you're always working from one needle to the same needle. And I don't know, it seems backwards. That's why I've had to put these little stitch stoppers, because I know that's the one that I'm not working, I'm not working on. So and now I've gotten it. It's okay, but I mean, we'll see. Maybe by the end of the socks, I'll be like, this is genius, and why would I do it any other way? But my sense is that I'll probably end up going back to Magic Loop. But I'm loving the cables. I'm really on a cable thing right now. I've been doing a lot of cables, and I'm really been into learning the various ways to do the cables without the cable needles. And so that's been a lot of fun for me, going down YouTube rabbit holes to figure out the 4 or 5 different ways it seems like there are to do each kind of cable without a cable needle. Your mistake was to go about the process of finding your sock formula with math. I don't know how much math there was in the process. I mean, certainly the gauge and the stitch counts has some math in it, but it was more all of the different, and I didn't try like the little Addy flips or whatever those are, because that kind of is this. Um, but I did do 9-inch circulars, which I liked well enough. It did hurt my hands a little bit, but not too much. And Magic Loop just seems to make the most sense to me because I'm already a Magic Loop knitter to begin with. I do think size 1 needles generally is giving me the fabric that I want. So I think that I will stick to those. You started out, well, I did do all, that's right. I got the Kate Ashley book where you take all the calculations of your foot size and do that. I think that was helpful. It is especially helpful to have that all written down so that when you have, for example, a sock project that you start at the beginning of September and then don't pick up again until the end of November, you kind of know, how much more you have to do. DPNs, no. I think I think of all of the, I'm not even going to try those because I've done enough DPN back in the day, before Magic Loop, I think probably before Magic Loop was even invented, or at least before that first Magic Loop book, which I have, which I think was early 2000s, came out. I did some DPN knitting. I don't know if I ever did try to do socks, but that's a hard pass for me. But always cuff down. I tend, this is the first time I'm doing toe up socks. And so I, realize that there is a learning curve. And so it took me 6-7 times starting those, whatever, I can't even remember is it Jenny, Julie, whoever has the infuriating cast on, that we were joking about, the toe up cast on. So it took me like 6 or 7 times to get it going. I mean, I do kind of like the idea that you can sort of try these on as you go and at least figure out if the fit is working. Judy's magic effing cast on. Yes, that's right. I think we called it Judy's maniacal cast on. That's what I was calling it. But it finally came together. I finally got it, but there was a lot of cursing involved. So the socks are the other thing that I've been working on. And then I do have one FO. I showed it on my last episode, but I have it here, so I'll show it again. This was a colorwork hat called Just Getting Started that Nancy Bates designed for the SoCal Fiber Fair, which I'm going to talk about in a second. But this was fun, and we all took our picture with it at the Fiber Fair. It's in Knit Picks Wool of the Andes. It's going to Knit the Rainbow. I finished that up. The other thing that I finished, I just have to do one little tiny thing, is I finally finished my Saved a Bun hat, which is going to be my Saved a Neck cowl. And I just have the bottom trim, the ribbing to put on it. So I just have to stitch this on it. I know I don't really need it. Symmetry is something that I like, but it doesn't really matter to a lot of people. And I think I could have just left it as is. It's also going to go to Knit the Rainbow, but I'm symmetrical. So I'm going to knit or slip stitch the second band of ribbing onto that. Knitting with DPNs is trying to untangle a wind chime. Yes, I say it's like trying to fight with a porcupine. So it's my other almost FO, AFFO. And then the only other thing that I have been working on that is not related to this bigger project that we'll talk about here in a second is this little hat. I just started it, actually patterned from the Indie Gift Along on Instagram or on Ravelry. It's called Winter Oatmeal. It is a very simple twisted rib and then kind of a, I guess, twisted broken rib. I had started a hat with this yarn at the SoCal Fiber Fest. It was on like size 13s. This is on a size 10.5. And it was a mock cable pattern. And I got like 3 repeats into it. So I'd had more of it done than this hat, but it was just so loose and open. And because of the mock cable created these like kind of holes, I was like, this hat isn't going to keep anybody warm maybe in LA, but that's not served by Knit the Rainbow. It's certainly not going to keep anyone in Detroit or Chicago or New York warm. So I ripped it out and decided to do something that was a little tighter, so it's a little warmer. This is um, yarn from 100 Ravens that I picked up at Stitches SoCal last year, bulky weight. And I had originally planned to make myself one of Fatima Heinz's hats. I can't remember which one it was, but I needed to grab something quick to work on at the fiber fair while I was sitting around, and so I grabbed this yarn because it was there, and it was already wound up. So it is going to go to Knit the Rainbow, called Winter Oatmeal, and I apologize, I can't remember who the designer is. So I said I've been able to get back to work a little bit, but what has been taking up most of my time has been this Project Funway. So if you saw the announcement this last week, Knit Stars has launched this little fun event that they're calling Project Funway, which is a design competition where they have teamed up two professional designers and two people who had aspirations to maybe become designers. And so Louis Boria from Brooklyn Boy Knits and myself are pitted against Nina Macklin Dayton, who runs the Indie Gift Along, and Melinda Lesko. And this all came about out of a Zoom event that Shelley, the Knit Stars does in their Yarniverse, where they do these twice monthly Zooms. They bring in people to talk, in the industry to talk about things. So they had me on to talk about the knit alongs, the crochet alongs, and D-stash, and all the things. And Shelley, I had never met Shelley. I knew who she was, but I'd never met her. But she did this sort of interview with me, and one of the questions she said was, "Well, have you ever, you've been knitting for a while. Have you ever thought about designing?" And I was like, "Oh, I said, at some point, yeah, I had just started sort of thinking about, well, it might be kind of cool to come up with something down the road after the riding of the bike is done, and we've wrapped up that part of my life for the time being." But out of that came conversation, and she said, "Oh, I've been thinking about doing this kind of thing for a while, and would you be interested?" And we are really interested in helping you try to hit your fundraising goal to get you to the $200,000 this year. And we would like to figure out a way to do that, and maybe this would be a fun way to do it. And so with that, I had to say yes, even though my aspirations for doing any sort of design were further down the road, but it just felt like such a great opportunity to, one, have someone to kind of mentor you through a process, and two, to make it a fundraiser for AIDS Lifecycle. So that's we all had a Zoom. She said, I have someone else, I have someone else in mind that I think they have someone that they've kind of been working with already, helping them mentor them as well. And so the whole thing was born. And she said, we have this yarn, and we all, you all can work with this yarn. You can have as much as there's no rules on like how much of it you can use, but so everyone's working off the same, sort of base, literally and figuratively. And so this is the yarn. So this is from, it's a private label yarn from Shelley's shop, Loops. It's called Loops Luxe Chunky. It's 70% alpaca, 30% silk in their sort of signature blue colorway. It's really, really beautiful. It's really soft. It's called a chunky weight yarn. I think both teams are knitting it up as more like an Aran weight. So we're using, there's a little spoiler, we're using size 8 needles on our design. And so they, over the next few weeks, more content is going to come out. We've been filming Zoom calls between all of us, and meetings that Louis and I have had, coming sort of figuring out what kind of project we wanted to be, what kind of designs we were interested in doing. And then at some point in the next bit, the patterns will get released, and then we'll be able to get they'll be on sale. There will be kits available using this yarn from Knit Stars, and then I think there's going to be some big event where we all go online and have a discussion and trash talk each other and whatnot. So if you were at Rhinebeck, and on the Sunday of Rhinebeck, there was a gathering for Knit Stars, and so we were all supposed to show up there because we were taking these crazy pictures where we're like tugging on this yarn. That was what that was all about, was us shooting those photos, and we did little videos where the footage from that hasn't come out yet, but we're all kind of like trash talking a little bit of each other. So Nina and Melinda are working on their design. Lewis and I are working on our design, and they should be coming out here in the next couple weeks. Well, not a couple weeks, probably a month or so. But as part of that, one of my parts of the design involved, and seemed like a simple idea at the time. It involved grafting two ends of something in pattern. And when we came up with the idea, it was literally, we were just like, yeah, we could do that. And we'll just, you will have to do a provisional cast on, you'll just graft it. We'll just graft it together. But I did not realize that grafting in pattern is a much trickier thing than doing a Kitchener stitch on a toe of a heel. So when I tell you that I've probably spent 30, 40 hours knitting little things that look like bracelets just to try to figure out how to graft them together, the pile of garbage of failed attempts is it's wild. I've watched so many YouTube videos, and it's just one of those things that, like, it seems so simple, and it's been so tricky. It's been really, really frustrating, and made the whole I mean, we had so much fun. We've had so much fun with the other parts of the design process, and this has just been so frustrating to me. And I really, it's like, why can't I get it? Why can't, and everyone, all the videos I've seen are a little bit different. Some say you have to do it this way, other say you have to do it this way. And sometimes I would get very close, and then it would still look like garbage. And so I have struggled with, is it better just to forget it looking seamless, and just seam it up? And because going into this project, one of the very first things I said to Lewis is, like, we're coming off the holidays, these patterns are going to be released. We want people to knit them, in the new year. It's like, we want a chill, relaxing, fun project, easy enough, like, that there's some, something interesting in it that people will be interested in, but I don't want to, like, break anybody's brain. My brain has been broken. And so, like, at some point I was like, what, and working on a deadline is, because, I mean, these things need to get, I have to get it done in a certain period of time. And I'm like, I just want the solution. I don't really care right now about understanding the, like, technical aspect of, like, why it's being done this way. I was like, I just want a formula that I can, like, put into the pattern. So I think, because I finally think I have gotten it where it works. This one is not in a little tube, but where it works well enough. So it's, I can still see a little bit there, but it's, part of that is just attention issue, much like with your Kitchener when you're learning it for the first time. But I finally have figured out how to, a methodology that has worked for me. But replicating it has been a challenge. Like I've been able to do it once and then I go back 2 days later and I can't do it again. This time I'm able to do it 2 times in a row. I'll try it again today and see if I can do it 3 times in a row. But I think at the end of the day, we're also going to just include instructions for mattress stitching it together, or doing like a, this is another all labeled. This is like a crochet slip stitch seam. So it's visible, but I think your mileage may vary in terms of how much you care about that. And then if I feel like I can get it replicated, I will adapt the methodology that I've seen in film to film a little video to do it. So it's, yeah, it's been a real lesson in humility in terms of being able to get that sorted out. So if anyone has any tips or other videos to watch, let me know, because it's been I don't know, I can't figure out which aspect of it specific to the pattern that I'm using, because they're not all geared to like a 2x2 rib with pearls on the either end, but that has been taking up way too much of my time. So that's it in terms of like Whips and FL. I can talk a little bit about SoCal Fiber Fair, which was a really fantastic event. I thought it was really well organized. Nancy Bates, who is the author of Knitting the National Parks and also her new book, Knitting California, which I picked up a copy for myself and a copy for a prize, which she signed. There it is. Happy knitting, Nancy Bates. So this will go into the prize pack for a future knit along, crochet along prize. But it was really well organized. There were probably 50, 60 vendors there. Nice mix. A lot of local yarn stores in Southern California broadly put up booths, but then a fair number of folks from the Bay Area. So it seems like it was a huge success. I would say I showed up on Saturday at 11. The doors opened at 10. There was still a line of people to buy day of tickets when I got there, and there was a line to check in inside. Moved pretty quickly, but the booths were pretty packed from when I got there at 11 till 3:30 or 4. They stayed open till 6. By the end, it was pretty cleared out. But it was a good turnout, and it sounds like all the vendors had a great experience. So it sounds like they'll be doing it again next year. So I'm excited for that because the region could really use a good fiber fair. Stitches SoCal, I only ever went once. It was the last year. It was pretty sad. This was definitely a step up from that. Not, I would say, quite as robust an offering as Flock had this year in Seattle, but I'm hoping that since it was so successful and they have a little more time to plan next year, they put this thing together in like 90 days. So I'm hoping that next year they'll be able to have some more advanced warning, get more folks, now that people are hearing good word of mouth on it, that gets some folks from up and down the West Coast to participate. And maybe Spin Cycle will participate and not make us try to shop at 5 a.m. in the morning. So anyway, so I didn't do a ton of shopping because I did a fair amount in Rhinebeck and Woolenfolk and all that places. I also have a ton of yarn I'm trying to work from stash on. A couple things I did buy on the yarn front. I'm not going to show the label because the dyer for the upcoming spring knit along was there, and I bought a quantity of yarn to make that project, which is a shawl. I will say that, but this is what it is. This is not going to be the color that the dyer or the designer has picked out, but she had this colorway, which is this denim blue, which is right up my alley. So I picked up a quantity of that. I think it's a 3-ish skein shawl. I bought 4 skeins just to be on the safe side. I need to look at the pattern a little bit more to see if it's something you can just keep going on. So that was that. And the only other thing I bought yarn wise was from this delightful woman. I did not get her name, but her brand is called Jam Jar Yarns. I think she only sells, at least in wholesales, to a couple of yarn stores here in in Southern California. But she was really sweet, and she had a shift cowl from Andrew Mowry up in her shop, and I was like, oh, I've been, that's on my list of things to make. This yarn just jumped out at me. I don't know, pink and green, preppy, alpha kappa alpha. Something about it jumped out at me, and so then we were like, oh well, what will go with that to make to work it in the shift cowl. And so I picked this one, and then was trying to find another one of her yarns, and just sort of stopped myself, and I was like, you know what? I have so much yarn at home. I will have something that will work as the third color for this. So what I think, I mean, this would probably work just as more of a tonal solid. But for some reason, I think that the more pinky edge of this, the more magenta edge of this is Haynes House. Instant Sing-Along, it's called. But I think those three would work together nicely. So that, I think, will go into the kit stash, which takes it out of real stash, and at some point become a shift. Yeah, I imagine if you if you said you were really feeling pink and or green and purple, that would probably work for you. But I think there's enough of that magenta-y color in there as well that it'll pull from those. So that should be fun. I've not made that, and she had the sample there, and so I just assumed that fingering weight was what it actually calls for sport weight, but it calls for spin cycle. So, and I think you can spin cycle can kind of go either way. And if it becomes just a really small little cowl, then so be it. So, so that was all. That was all the yarn I bought. The only other thing I picked up was a sock ruler from Need Runs Through It. I did not have one of these that you can stick down into the sock, so I picked that up. And then Dragonfish, which is the company I was saying was having a 75% off sale right now from 1 to 2 East Coast West Coast time. I had won a bag of hers at the Stitch and Pitch at the Dodgers game this year. She's local here to LA. And so since I had won one of her bags, I thought I would get one of her bags. And then she also had these really cute little resin sunflower stitch markers, which went with the bag. So that is going to become a little prize pack for probably something in the spring, knit along or crochet along. So that was that. While I was there, I went live with Sarah from Sea Change Fibers. Someone who was just Lynn bought some Sea Change Fibers, and we talked about the upcoming winter knit along. I wanted to talk about that as well, and then talk about that in the crochet along. And I think we'll talk about the prize thing that's going to happen next week for someone. So I sat down with Sarah from Sea Change Fiber. She has fantastic yarn. Almost all of it, I think, is non-superwash. The pattern that we're going to be working on for the spring is by Nance at MK Nance Designs. It's called Bascule. So it is a color work, 2-color fingering weight, hand and mitt, hat and mitt set. It's a revamp of the pattern. So the original pattern was for a tam and and mitts, but she added a beanie version of the hat to the pattern. So you can do both of them with one skein of each. So one of each color will get you the full set. And I'm really excited because this is looks like kind of the next evolution of my color work career. You need to do a poll of which color I should use for that project. Okay, everybody chime in. Eli would like to know which color they should use for the project. So the colors, these are all the Sea Change Fibers on her Montara sock base, which I think is Coriadale and nylon. Really, really nice and squishy and soft. Beautiful yarn. So this is the colorway that it's shown in. It is hard to see on my picture of a picture here, but that is a dark tonal teal and a kind of oatmeal-y natural color. So it's called Stormy Seas, and Au Natural. It's a shame that I should have bought a skein of the. She didn't have the Au Naturel in the shop; it had sold out. The teal is really really beautiful, like a really beautiful dark teal with some tonality to it. So that is number one. The second set is another blue called Deep Thoughts, paired with black, which is called Odile. And Sarah picked this one out because I thought it was a little different. I wasn't. It was not something that I would have thought about for color work. But she said because of the black, the blue is going to really pop. I mean, obviously it's very high contrast, so you would expect that. So this one will pop as well. And then the third one, which I think is going to be a little more tonal, but these two colors together are absolutely fabulous. Is the kind of rosy pink is called Antique Fair, and the gold is called Kolsch. So those are the three kits that she's put together. They're all available up on her website right now. I want to say the yarns are $32 a skein. So this pre-order and the crochet one we're going to talk about in just a second are going to stay open until the 8th of December. We're doing a little bit early. We wanted to give people enough time to get the yarn dyed and shipped out before the holidays, so that everyone has it in time for the cast on the 1st. So weigh in. Everyone, there's a poll. It's too hard to decide. I will tell you that I also have had a hard time deciding, because I've been trying to knit from stash, and so I've been buying the yarn from the dyers and then putting it in the prize pile so that I'm supporting them, but I'm going to knit out of my stash. And I had picked out, this was a gift from Evan in Ireland, but it's Carol Feller's yarn called Blasta, which is a very woolly wool, but it's kind of this kind of turquoise and olive and bits of brown in there. And I always thought I would pair that with, a natural. But I went and ordered the teal and the Au Natural, and I ordered the pink and the gold. So 60%. Okay, perfect. Hey, Sunny, how are you? We were just talking about Project Funway and how I'm totally going to win, even though I've spent 40 hours knitting little tubes in blue yarn trying to figure out a part of this pattern, and it's been driving me bonkers. The star on that hat is beautiful. Absolutely. Rebecca's using yarn from stash. Fighting words. Leaning towards the rose gold because wouldn't normally, but the teal combo is yummy. I think it kind of comes down to how contrasty do you want it to be, because I think the teal and cream or the black and light blue are going to be the most contrasty. That other one's going to be kind of more muted. Even though I love those two colors together, I feel like I see them in a lot of designs right now, and so I think that they're really cool. But I think it is going to give you a more muted vibe. So yeah, I got both, and even though I picked out this Carol Feller yarn to use out of stash, I may end up. Maybe I'll do half and half. Maybe I'll do this, but use the Au Natural. Because I do think I want to do two. This is non-superwash. I think I want to do two non-superwash, since everyone says, that's ideal for color work. So I thought that would be good. So maybe I can do half and half and sort of jump the line between knitting from stash and buying new yarn for the project. Yeah, I would do. Yeah, I would. I don't think you can go wrong. So I don't think we're helping any of the people who've had questions about which ones to use. But I think that they're all beautiful choices. You can't go wrong. I did want to hit on the crochet along, which I had done a live with earlier, and I need to get those posted up here on Instagram this week. But sat down with Corinne of I Knit You Not, the designer, and Courtney from Apothecary Fiber Co., who is the dyer for the crochet along project. So it's a shawl. It is called the Dahlias and Honey shawl. This is one of Corinne's older patterns, but she wanted to do a refresh of it for this project in speckles. And so I'm wearing it right now. This was not crocheted by me. Lynn crocheted it using one of the apothecary fiber. It actually probably looks better on the over the shirt so you can kind of see through it. Using one of the Apothecary Fiber Co. colors. So this one is called Druid Grove. Does that sound right? Cosmic Petals is one, and Druid, I think it's called Druid Grove. So let me show you the two colorways. So here they are, and you can see in the background, Courtney at Apothecary Fiber Co. actually knit up the pattern, mixing them both so you could kind of see them both worked up. I thought it looked good, even though it's designed as a one color shawl. So the pink is called peachy pink is called Cosmic Petals, and I believe it's called Druid's Grove. I should have written it down. Sorry. But that is this sort of emerald green with the purple and some lighter green specks in it. I thought it worked out really beautifully. So Lynn can chime in. Thank you, Lynn. It looks good on me. Lynn can chime in here, but in the chat. But she said it was a really fun pattern, and once you got going in it, it was a really quick work. I mean, she's very fast to begin with, but she worked out very, very quickly. But it has some fun like baubles and wrapped bobbly things here, as well as some bigger eyelets. And even though it is fingering weight, I imagine, given how open it is, that it can work up pretty quickly. But it's a 2 skein shawl, and the pattern is available on Ravelry now. It's called Dahlias and Honey. The Bascule pattern is also available on Ravelry now. All you need to do is buy a copy of the pattern and buy an entry ticket to be participating in the knit along and the crochet along. Obviously, I would love it if you supported the dyers who are supporting me. Not only does it help their business, but it also helps my fundraising. But it was with all of my knit alongs and crochet alongs. You are more than welcome to knit from stash using any yarn you like. So good question, Erin. Adventurous, beginner friendly, Lynn. I think you said yes. I think if I'm going to knit it, it better be, because I am adventurous beginner is probably where I would put myself as on the crochet spectrum. But I'll let Lynn chime in if she said. But she said it was fun, and Courtney, who is the dyer, who also she crocheted up the one I was showing. She also said how much fun she had to work, and I had almost the exact same comments. Like once you kind of got into the pattern, it became very easy to memorize and just kind of keep going. So she said yes, it is adventurous, beginner friendly. So go check out those two patterns. Cast On will be January 1 and will run through the 29th of February. And then same rules as always. There will be 5 rounds of giveaways. You can enter the giveaways by posting pictures on Instagram with the hashtag or in our Ravelry group. I would say, and I have not found a better way to deal with this, but Instagram has kind of changed the ways that hashtags are memorialized. If you want to guarantee that you are getting your entries in, I would go to the Ravelry group because those stay up there forever. I'm not 100%. It's Instagram, so there are no explanations for why anything is how it is, but I'm not always 100% sure that every time someone posts with the hashtag, it is searchable by me, and I'm getting every single one of them every time I do the search. So if you want to guarantee that your entries are being entered, post them on Ravelry. You can post them both places, and it counts as 2. So if you post in both places, you have a better shot at winning. And we'll have some fun. We'll have some fun prizes. I think the Nightmare Before Christmas book over there that I see. Tons of yarn to give away. So if knitters want to try crochet, Valerie, who's a visit with Nana and Papa here on YouTube, has offered to help. She loves to crochet. She can't, it hurts her hands now, so she doesn't get to do as much, but she's an excellent teacher. She helped me immensely with my first ever sweater for Rhinebeck. So take her up on that offer if you would like to try crochet. I think we're getting close to the end. I don't want this to go all day. But I did just want to mention, I mentioned the January D-stash will happen in January. The plan is to do two more of those in the spring after January to get me to June when the AIDS life cycle happens. Haven't really talked about that too much, but I'm hoping to get on my bike this week and begin that process of slowly getting back up to a normal, 50 to 100 miles a week. Um, and I'm going to ride even when it's cold this year, but I'm about a little over $7,500 raised so far. I have not done any of my normal sending out a letter or any of that stuff yet. I decided this year to wait until after the beginning of the year because people get on my mailing list for friends and family get confused about which year they've donated for. And so I thought this was just new tax year donation. I will be putting out something day after tomorrow for Giving Tuesday, just as sort of a little jump head start into that fundraising. But for right now, it's just been the knit-alongs and the D-stashes that have been doing things. And then a little bit of sneak preview, obviously, Project Funway we've got going on. More details on that are going to roll out on how that is going to tie into the fundraising. And then I have a new project coming in the spring that's probably, well, fingers crossed anyway, certainly one of the biggest things I've ever attempted to do, and hopefully will end up then being a big fundraiser that can help push me over the mark for this year. So as I said, I've raised about $7,500 just from the fall knit along and crochet along and the first D-stash we did in September. On my way to trying to raise $60,000 this year. So long way to go, but I'm still confident that I'm going to be being able to get that done. And then, I was going to talk a little bit about knitting intentions, but I think I'll save that for a regular podcast. But I would love to, hear folks' thoughts on, I don't call them resolutions, but sort of intentions and what I plan to do. I can talk a little bit about my 2023 ones were to knit a sweater, for myself, which I did. I wanted to knit 10 items for Knit the Rainbow. I think I'm going to be at 14, so that makes me feel very good that one got done. We already talked about the 3 socks, and that is going to be a push to finish up those socks by the end of December. But if I have stopped my little tube knitting factory here because I finally solved the issue, then maybe I can get back on track with the sock knitting and get those done and hit that one. And I think that color work was sort of another goal I had for this year, and was able to get that the Palm Springs cowl from Casey Knits, which still, I mean, I love my Rhinebeck sweater, and I'm thrilled with the way it turned out. But I think right up there on the list of my favorite things I did this year was that cowl pattern from Casey Knits. So I'm excited to take the next step with this bascule pattern headed into next year, and kind of because that one does not look like there are rest rows. It looks like it's almost every row has color work. So, speaking of color work, Sarah at Sea Change Fibers gifted me this little Norwegian thimble thing, because I was talking about my tension on my on the hat that I made, this hat, that it was very tight, and especially on my non-usual holding the yarn on my non-usual finger. And she said this was a game changer for her in terms of tensioning for her color work. So I am going to, on this bascule project, definitely give this a try and see how that works. It looks kind of wild, but I'm excited to give it a try. They work great if knitting continental, which is how I knit. So and that's where the holding the yarn in this hand, in my right hand, this hand, because you're looking at it backwards, my right hand is where I find the tension problems happening. Too tight, which is sort of counterintuitive to me since it's my non-normal hand. And I found that the only way that I found so far to help resolve that is to actually drop that yarn and then pick it up physically and like throw it around, and that keeps it a little looser. But if this thing helps, that'll be fantastic. And then I'll be off to the doodle races with Carol. So yeah, so I'm gonna put together a list of sort of my intentions and goals for 2024. The end of the AIDS life cycling is upon me in June, and I also have to start thinking about what that's going to mean in terms of all of this, and the knit alongs and the crochet alongs and the destash and all that, and what do we want to do with that going forward. So that's going to be a part of that as well. I mentioned the spring cow, and then we can call this quits, but there will be a spring knit along. Typically, or at least last year, we made that a choose your own adventure open cow, and that's going to be the same this year. So you're going to be able to knit on whatever projects you want. The fundraising piece is just buy a ticket to get entered for the prizes, and then we're all just going to share our progress on whatever it is we want to knit or crochet. There will be a knitting pattern. Been working with a designer, and things got mixed up. Not mixed up, but things. There were some scheduling issues, and it was supposed to be a pattern to work on earlier this year, and we just decided to push it. But I'm really excited about the pattern, and so I want to be able to do it. So it's going to be out there on offer if folks want an organized pattern to be working on. As I mentioned, it's a 3 or so skein DK weight shawl, and I'm excited. Not the least of which reason is that I got that beautiful denim yarn to knit it in. So we need a rabbit hole doodle. I feel like for those of you who aren't part of our Tuesday Zoom call, please join us. It is a fun and comical group of people who to get together every Tuesday night and knit and chat and show off projects. But Carol, who's part of that group, is known for going down a Wikipedia rabbit hole or two each time we come. So that is for the discussions of the rabbit holes. Doodling is a rabbit hole by definition. I mean, I think, yeah, I that's probably true, but I feel like there is a fun project to be had with the doodle decks or the doodle patterns, and like drawing random ones out of a hat, or having some sort of relay race where you hand off the project and the next person gets to choose the next doodle or something. So we talked about that, I think, on the last Zoom call, but I think it would be kind of a cool mystery knit along kind of deal where you never know what the next doodle is going to be. So maybe at some point down the road we'll have that as a project. But that was it, except for some few technical glitches at the beginning. I think it worked out well. I've enjoyed having the chat and the sort of interaction. I can see why this is more fun with two people, like when Kevin and Ray do it, to have something to bounce off of each other. So maybe at some point down the road, I'll figure out how to do the whole StreamYard thing where we can have multiple people and do a Zoom or do a more Zoom like YouTube live. But I appreciate all of you coming in today and hanging out for a little bit. I really appreciate everyone that subscribed to the channel. I have a lot of fun making the videos, doing the research and finding the craftivism ideas, and showing you what I'm working on. So I'm glad that we have found each other, and please share with everyone you know, and hopefully we can get the next. Don't forget the like button. Yes, like, subscribe, thumbs up, ring the bell, all the YouTube things. But thanks for spending time with me. Do not forget, if you want to be entered into the gift away on for the 1K celebration, I am going to be giving away this beautiful skein of hand spun yarn from Crochet Goddess. Joanna gave it to me at Rhinebeck. And then in addition to this, we are going to do a shop my stash where you tell me what weight of yarn you would like, or maybe color or something, and I'm going to lay out all the yarn onto the bed, and we are going to go shopping for 2 more skeins of yarn to go with this. Marianne, late to the party. No worries. I'm glad that you came. So go over there. It's episode 32, has all the instructions on what you need to do to win. Win this right now. You have a pretty good shot. I think there's like 35 or 36 entries in the thing. And I will pick a winner this week when I film my next regular episode. So that should go live on Friday of this week. So you probably have until sometime on Wednesday or so to get entered into that. And then I'll pick a winner, announce it on Friday, and then we will make plans to try to do like an Instagram live when you do your shopping. So with that, thank you so much. Head over to get your patterns for the winter knit along and crochet along. Grab your yarn, and I look forward to casting on with you on January 1st. All right. Have a fantastic rest of your Sunday. Thanks so much for joining me. Bye-bye.